Good morning. I'd like to call Human Resources Appointment and Equity Committee Tuesday, February 16th, 2016 to order. Can we have a roll call, please?
Calling the roll, Ms. Conwell.
Here.
Mr. Gallagher.
Here.
Mr. Germana. Mr. Germana is absent. Mr. Miller.
Here.
Ms. Brown.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, I'd like to make a motion to excuse Councilman Germana.
I so
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Chrissy, has anyone signed in for public comment related to the agenda?
No, Madam Chair, no one has signed in.
All right. I believe we were all here for the February 2nd meeting. Can I have a motion to move the, approve the minutes?
so moved. Second.
We have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, minutes have been approved. There's one item referred to on the agenda today. We have several items in committee, but this is the only matter that was referred to committee for today's meeting. It's R2016-0001. Chrissy, can you read it into the record, please?
Resolution 2016-0001, adopting the amended Cuyahoga County Personal Review Commission administrative rules as the administrative rules for the Cuyahoga County Personal Review Commission to be codified in the Cuyahoga County Administrative Code.
All right, Mr. McAleer.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Madam Chair. Trevor McAleer, County Council staff. Before you today, you guys should have a memo that we sent out on Friday related to the staff recommendations related to the PRC rules. At the last HR committee meeting, Madam Chair, you directed council staff as well as the PRC and the law department and HR to try to come up with a consensus for today's meeting in order to send out the rules and have it approved within the 60-day time window that we have to approve the rules. So the memo was a summary of what Chief of Staff Joe Nani, Michael King, and I met on Friday morning and came up with, and we've talked to both Ed Morales and Rebecca about our recommendations. And we can go point by point, which is really 4 points of discussion related to the PRC rules. The first recommendation is related to rule, it is on page, sorry, I had it right here. Related to page 10, section 3.06, delegation of certain administrative functions. One of the discussion points between Ed Morales and the PRC was to strike out section 1 related to the management and implementation of personnel policies and practices. The staff's recommendation to the committee would be to currently keep that in the rules, and at a later date when the PRC submits the round 2 of the PRC rules that we can address the language in that. But for now, keep it in the rules, and the delegation of that particular function is going to the HR department. So nothing really will change from a logistic perspective, but keep it in the rules for now. Therein is agreement to strike out item 2, which is something we talked about at the last committee meeting, and that is in the proposed substitute. But there's not any discussion or issues around that particular item.
All right.
And Madam Chair, the next discussion point is related to 3.07 around the ethics section. And our recommendation right now would be currently not to change anything, but as the committee knows, we have revisions to the ethics ordinance that is currently in Councilman Miller's committee for discussion later this week. And we believe that we can address those during the ethics discussion as well. So we wouldn't change anything in 3.07. The third point is related to section 6.04, which is the compensation plan. And it is the staff's recommendation right now. The last sentence on page 15 of the draft rules is to delete the word implementation. So it would read research and recommendation of best classification and compensation practices. This is something Ed Morales recommended in his memo a week or so ago. And this is something that as council staff, we agree that should be removed. And with an agreement that we would work with the PRC and the law department or HR to come back at a later date with some revised language instead of the word implement. But for now, strike the word implementation out. And then finally, related, the last discussion point is section 7.05, equal employment opportunity. There is a general consensus amongst everyone that we add some language related to disability and color and ancestry, that we add those words, but based off the current rules that we have, we cannot add words because then the PRC would have to go post that for a certain period of time in order to get this approved within the 60-day window. We would address that language in round 2 of the PRC rules when they submit a second version, which we talked with the PRC on Friday, and our goal would be to have something approved by the end of the year, which I think we would actually probably have something done sooner than that, but to include the language that we're recommending on our last page of our memo, which would be consistent with the charter section 9.01. So we would address that later on. And that is, in summary, the 4 issues that we talked about at the last committee meeting and our staff's recommendations.
Any questions from the committee? All right, Mr. Councilman Miller.
The first question is whether the substitute that was passed out here, does that substitute incorporate your staff recommendations?
It does.
Okay. And I have a question to Ms. Kopczynski. My question is that if we adopt the staff recommendations, we're gonna create a situation in which the codified rules differ in a couple of respects from the rules that the PRC has on its own books, and I think we can tolerate that in the short run, but I think in the long run we want the two to be in agreement, and my question is if you can give us an estimate as to how long it would take to do the updating of the rules that you would contemplate following this stage of the process, and come back to us with a new revision.
I expect that the PRC would be able to do that within the next 90 days.
Okay, great. Okay.
Any other questions? All right. Ms. Kopczynski, do you have anything to share this morning?
No.
In agreement? Okay. Anything from the HR department? All right. Hearing none,
Madam Chair, can I have one more comment, please?
go right ahead.
Related to the staff's memo, I would just ask on page 2, the first full paragraph, we're going to send out another memo, but we would like to strike out the first sentence in that paragraph related to
Which paragraph?
the first full paragraph on page 2 that says that following the committee meeting, the representatives of the PRC and HRD met to discuss a few of the items. We would just, there was a miscommunication related to that sentence that we need to clarify that we'll send out to you at a later date, but I just wanted to put that on the public record since we talked about the memo.
Okay, and under the summary?
Yes. No, I'm sorry, under the summary.
Okay, second paragraph,
The first full paragraph on the second page,
okay.
the first sentence. And we will send out a revised memo.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Councilman Miller.
But that's only procedural, and it doesn't affect any of the language, is that correct?
That's correct, Councilman. We
Okay.
just wanted to get on the record, though, that there was a little bit of miscommunication of who met and under whose authority. So we would like to clarify that at a later date in a memo.
Okay. In that case, I would like to offer a motion that we adopt the proposed substitute that has been distributed, and that we make that substitute the version of this legislation that's before the committee.
Would it need to be second reading suspension, or we're good with time?
Well,
Madam
right
Chair.
now, we're just on substituting.
Okay.
We don't need
All
to.
in favor, say aye for the substitute. Aye. Do we need this for, yes, okay.
We do.
Mr. Miller, if you could make a motion to move this to the full council?
And now that question is relevant, do we
Said
want?
yes.
Yes, on second reading suspension, okay. I will move that we recommend Resolution 2016-0001 favorably as substituted to the full council with a recommendation that it be put on the agenda for second reading suspension.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Has been moved and forwarded. Thank you. Thank you all for coming to a quick resolution. Any miscellaneous business? Any public comment?
No, Madam Chair.
Meeting adjourned.